Two.
Hey!
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I'm Smoking Phat J.
I'm Matt Christy. And boy, did we watch it this last week.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure watched quite a bit. Yeah.
Some of us.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, good. I mean, he is like 50, almost 50%, I think. Almost 50%. It's better than most weeks.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He deserves an award, ladies and gentlemen.
He deserves that reward. The man who refuses to watch the 2 episodes of Rebels that we asked him to.
Going on 2 years.
Going on 2 years. And warning to James right now, we will be talking about another episode of Rebels today, later on. So
we've got a lot to go through today, so we might give it a bit of a clip because we are going to be reviewing episode 4 of The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. We are going to be reviewing episodes 7 through 9 of Andor. Uh-huh. We're going to be reviewing all 6 of the Tales of the Underworld episodes, as well as Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yes. Wonder what that asterisk means. Yeah. And wonder who was correct.
Oh, yeah. Make sure that you like and subscribe and all those things. That's right.
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can hear more of me being correct about what titles of movies are.
Okay. All right. So let's get into this. So Last of Us, episode 4. We left off the last time. They were...
Just got to Seattle.
Just got to Seattle.
Yep.
So we jump right in, starting to find out about what these wolves are all about. And this, this episode mainly takes place in Seattle, talking about the conflict that's going on between what's the other group called?
The Scars, is what they're called.
The Scars, and the
they're called something else.
The wolves.
They're called something else, but they're that's fine.
They're the Hammer Brothers from Super Mario?
Sure, yeah. They don't throw the hammers as much, but they're the Hammer Brothers.
But, they beat up mushrooms, so, it works out.
It was an interesting thing that in episode 3 we're introduced to this group of these characters, and they get slaughtered. But in this episode, they're the most dangerous threat to the wolves.
Right.
It's like, what? Who is the most dangerous?
And they're saying that, they have all these primitive weapons and everything like that, and, it seems like they shouldn't even be, I did like that scene, jumping around. I did like that scene where he was torturing the guy, and the guy says, well, every day one of your guys comes over, but we never go back, what I mean? That zealot, you know what I mean? Zealous behavior.
And the Watcher treated it correctly by just shooting the guy.
Yeah.
It's all right, torture's not going to work. Fine. Fuck you.
Yeah, what's the guy's name again? Jeffrey what?
Jeffrey Wright is his actual name.
Jeffrey Wright?
Yes. Yeah. Isaac is the character's name.
Fantastic in this episode.
He's that too, but no, he is the...
Yeah.
That's what James said, Westworld. He is the only, I believe so far, actor to actually play the role he voiced in the game. Yeah, he is the voice of that character in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked this episode a lot. I thought it forwarded, things quite a bit. You know what I mean? You got past a few things. There was, some slow moments here and there, but not too bad. It was, a good introduction to, our kind of main bad guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or, quote unquote bad guy.
Adversary or whatever.
Yeah, so I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed it.
Mixed bag for me. I mean, the pacing was a little weird, and what they tried to throw into this episode didn't seem to mesh as well as a whole episode, I guess, because you got the slow bits between Abby and Dina, and then you got the heavy action, and then right back into more slow bits, and it's like that. It seemed an uneven pace for what the episode was. I enjoyed the content. It's just like it just was kind of all over the place in what was being put on screen for the episode.
Yeah, pacing was my biggest issue.
Ellie
Ellie.
with the E.
Right.
Wyoming. you,
I felt like that was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, James, you do for the obvious setup that she's going to die.
Especially with the baby reveal. Like the
Yeah.
baby reveal seems like it changes your motivation instantly. It's like, let's just go back. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, why are you here then?
Right. I feel like someone who's so driven by revenge would have gotten angry at the reveal about the baby. Like would have gotten angry at her, like, like you've got to get the fuck out of here.
I mean, I can understand the not anger only because your secret just came out. What right do you have to be angry at anybody else at that point in time? It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I can't be infected. Haha.
Yeah, but I feel like you would just be angry as someone who's so driven by the revenge that you would just like maybe she would be like, hey, I don't have a right to be, but like that initial response to the baby would be like, this is going to prevent me from getting what is my complete driving force. Like when she has that moment where she's excited about the baby, it just, again, it feels like that would change your motivation if revenge was your.
You also don't. This story doesn't happen if that reveal happens back in Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like who's going to go with her at that point? Nobody.
Right.
Go ahead. Well, okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm not going to try to change your opinion on this by what I'm saying. Two things more. Number one, Dina's reaction is more of a hint that she's pregnant because her emotions and everything are out of whack due to baby. For those of us who have gone through that, we realize that. Number two thing, because I don't know if you watched any of the after the show stuff.
No.
I hadn't played the game. I know enough about it, what's going on, and everything like that. So apparently, that whole scene, according to the creator of the video game, was an optional thing that you could have done in the game, and you could have actually entirely missed it as well. So, yeah. So it's like, okay, well,
It did feel very video gamey because it's like, oh, look there's a perfectly fine guitar sitting here in the middle of fucking the zombie apocalypse got all its strings, no problem.
I was expecting at some point that they would have gone to a flashback of Joel teaching her to play. Yeah.
Yeah, it means something.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It had that video game suspense in so many ways.
This season, so much more than the first season, is like a video game.
Yeah.
Like everything that's done in it is based upon video game decisions, video game actions, the directing, everything like that. So, yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't. No, I didn't say it in terms of raising the stakes. I didn't say it in terms of raising the stakes. I'm saying in terms of how she, as a person, would feel being pregnant and how how pregnancy affects women. So,
listen, she'll be gone in a day or two.
Yeah, no, I know.
So yeah,
I enjoyed the introduction to Isaac scene.
Yes.
Like,
I enjoyed all of the Isaac scenes.
Yeah, no,
that. It felt like a good old Walking Dead villain. You know what I mean? Like just coming in and seeing like, hey, here's a person who does not give a fuck, who probably does give a lot of fuck, but is willing to do whatever it takes. Kind of.
No, he gives a fuck. He is not about the bullshit though.
No, and that's going to be fun. And the dynamic between the crazy zealots and them, and Ellie and this girl being stuck in the middle on this little, this vendetta I think that's an interesting dynamic of this show, And I don't feel where in a lot of shows I'd be like, and I think James the same way, like we'd be bitching that we hadn't gotten to this faster. But I don't feel that way.
We're here in episode 4. I think it's 10 episodes again this season, and they are moving along and getting to all of this. So,
They do have the benefit. They do have the benefit of having a beginning, middle, and end of their fucking story, which a lot of these don't really have. They have a to be continued more, even though this was already ready to have a season 2, it still didn't feel that way. That story that we got from the first season felt contained, and then this feels like a more natural project.
I would almost say, other than the there's going to be another season ending to Fallout, that Fallout did a pretty good job as well with the pacing of the story that they were telling and getting through everything to the end of what they intended for that season to be. Just the very, very end of it was a whole, hey, you must follow me to this next game.
Next time.
Type thing. But the rest of it, like, the pacing was very good and everything. So they are getting better about it when you have people who care. which is a nice thing to see.
Well, guys, we got a lot to get through.
I want to throw one other thing real quickly.
Go ahead.
The one thing that annoyed me about this episode, more than anything else, was you're on a revenge tale, right? You have a blink and you'll miss it. She killed one of the people she's hunting down moment.
Did she?
When she gets upstairs and she's hiding where the Coke machine is, and the guy comes in, the first person that comes in is one of the people from the group that killed Joel. And she stabs him in the neck and kills him. And he's the only one that she intends to kill.
I didn't know.
At all. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's a blink and you miss it. She kills one of her targets in this episode. But they spend no time on it other than you got to recognize that this is one of them. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Good.
Now he's dead. Will we bring it up that she killed one of them? Well, we'll see. But yeah.
Excellent. All right, let's rate this. What are we rating it out of 4?
That's out of 5 for this one.
This is out of 5.
Yeah.
This one's out of 5. Yes.
All right. Out of 5. James, what do you want to rate this one? All right.
I give it a 3.5. Yeah, I mean, I said what one of my issues were. Like I said, it's still a better program than a lot of programs, everything like that. It did a lot what it needed to move the story along. But you also got things like Gay Street to foreshadow what's going to happen later in the episode.
Exactly.
It's just
Hey,
what's that rainbow?
I wonder why they like rainbows. I'm going to show you why they like rainbows.
Take this, Republicans.
I am also going to give it 3.5. Same thing. It just pacing was my little bit of issue, but there were so many things that I really did like in this. So yeah, I mean, good show, good episodes.
Yeah. Yes.
I was.
Hey, you got zombies. You got zombies. You got a practical set where have half a dozen people hanging that have been disemboweled.
Yes. Yes.
So that's a great set for a video game property.
Yeah, it is.
Horror property. So that all of it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't clip. You got to clip through that side.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to Andor. Andor, episodes 7 through 9. We are this show. I mean,
Welcome to True Peak Television.
I just love this show. This show's great. There's so much going on. There's, again, I love this show for the same reason why I loved, what was the damn show? I can never remember the name of it. The Kevin Spacey one.
House of Cards.
House of Cards, things like that. Just, political thriller, type of shows. This one actually had a lot of action. Mm-hmm. We had the massacre, the Gorman massacre, or the second one, or whatever.
Yep.
I think we both thought it was going to be someone else, but it was her. She took the heat for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like these
thought,
episodes.
Yeah, no, the biggest worry to me was I thought she was going to end up dead in this episode. She'd be the one who ended up dead in this episode. And instead we got Mama Boy Cyril who ended up dying.
Yeah, Cyril dying was a big surprise. Big surprise.
Yes,
yeah,
George
McFly.
McFly. Yeah. Hey. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey.
Man, when Mom Mothma goes and does her speech and they're trying to get her out and they know that the one person is like, oh man, I love that shit. Like, I love that shit. It's great.
This is a preview of what if Trump really does what he wants to do. And what Trump really wanted to do in his first term to all the protesting groups. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Hey, we did have a little bit of the Force in this.
Yeah, we had the Force healer.
One. We had the Force healer, which was cool.
So I think what you're saying, James, really the only negative to these 3 episodes, because these other 3 episodes really have much of a negative, is that, hey, I'm living through this right now. Can I have some actual fantasy in my life?
Right.
and not see what's going to happen if I look out my window?
Well, remember, this was a long, long time ago.
Oh yeah, a long, long time ago. The galaxy far, far away. Definitely not look down the street. No? Mm-hmm. Okay.
They should just have his picture up on the wall everywhere.
Just
like at Marie Callender's, you got Mama Marie Callender's up on the wall, you know?
My only counter to you, James, is that he wasn't in Rogue One, and Krennic talked about him about as much. He kept bringing the Emperor, and he was doing this for the Emperor, and the Emperor, he wanted the Emperor's favor, but they didn't show him in that one either, so.
The Emperor's busy making some clone soup somewhere or some shit, you know?
He's on Exeter, and yeah. Okay.
Moff Tarkin and Vader, I could see. Emperor, I can see holding off because I feel like in this storyline, the Emperor really doesn't start paying attention to the rebellion until after they destroy the Death Star. That's why they end up finding a way to destroy the Death Star. But you're right. I think you've got enough on the rebel side that you're showing. You're showing Mon Mothma. You're showing Bail Organa. You know what I mean? You're showing some of those staples. So to not show some of the other ones is at least in the little holograms.
So
it's Benjamin
Bratt.
Bratt. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So my account. I mean, other than what I said to your account number, the Emperor, I don't think, doesn't belong in this series because even for the movies, like the Emperor is kind of in the background of the original Star Wars movie, but not the character that was shown. And in Empire, he was barely shown in a holograph group chat with him and Vader. Well, Vader is in his healing pod, so you don't really have the Emperor truly until Return of the Jedi, as it was anyway. The cross media that we apparently will never get you to watch, and we partially understand that now, whether we still want you to see the 2 episodes we actually see, Rebels, which is taking place. I know you heard it, but it's taking place approximately the same time as what's going on with Andor here. That didn't have the Emperor until the very end either. Tarkin was there at certain points in time, but Tarkin's... If you take anything from Rogue One, it's that Grand Moff Tarkin and Krennic are kind of on 2 different spheres of the Empire in terms of what they're doing and aspirations and everything like that. Tarkin's similar to what James said about the Emperor not having the rebels on the radar. Tarkin couldn't give 2 shits about the smaller groups of everything that was going on. He's more worried about taking over parts of the galaxy and planets and everything else like that for the Empire to bring it all in. And that's his grand motivation. So what's going on right now wouldn't be anything that interests him just yet. Now, the last 3 episodes, there probably should be some more mention of Tarkin coming into it. Because we're going directly from the episodes into the beginning of Rogue One. From what they've said so far. So, the Emperor, still don't expect him to see. It's just that'd be just a character they talk about. But Tarkin probably should have some more be in there type thing for those 3 episodes.
At least more talk about
Vader, maybe, but Vader they kind of explained the way through Rebels as to what he was doing, part of what he was doing, and everything else.
And he's his big reveal is at the end of Rogue One, anyways.
Yeah. and somebody made a comment in terms of talking about it. Says at some point in the next couple of years there will be a point in time where somebody can start with Andor, having never seen Rogue One, and watch from the beginning of Andor all the way through Rogue One, and which will make it a totally different experience than having seen Rogue One.
Actually, just was talking to someone the other day, and I said if I was to suggest anyone, well, if I was to suggest anyone to watch movies, I would say start with Rogue One.
Yeah.
At this point, and now Andor and Rogue One.
It's going to be a completely different experience for them.
Love your political intrigue in the Star Wars universe. Spy versus spy.
Although if you start from Andor and go through Rogue One and continue the movies from that point,
you will just.
It's like Star Wars may become a lot less important movie to you by comparison.
Yeah, Star Wars will all of a sudden be quite the shift.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. What happened to the serious tone that I was enjoying?
Exactly. Okay.
Kids now.
Anything else we want to say about this, or shall we rate this as well? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, no. Well, that's partial of how Cyril felt about it, but no, for Andor's end of it is like I took from that and the scenes from him and the desk clerk, who was the bellhop in the previous set of episodes, that Andor doesn't seem to remember a lot of the people that he interacts with. He's doing this job. He interacts with these people, and it's not on his mind at all who any of these people are. They're just people that he meets along the way. He has conversations with them. So basically, it reinforces the Force healer's statements to him that you are this person who gathers all of this into you. And it just extends to that he's gathering all these people into him, but he's not taking them. He's not really taking them into himself. They're just people that are gravitated towards him for whatever reason, whether it be the Force, whether it be something else. I don't know. But he doesn't recognize him. So his question of who are you is like he literally has no idea who this person is and why he just attacked him. And that with such fervor and everything, I was like, why? It's like, who are you? Like, why are you attacking me? I don't.
Yeah, what did I do to you?
So, and that just destroyed Cyril, which allowed for the headshot.
Yeah, because it was his whole life.
Yeah. But the question for Cyril is like, who am I? I don't know who I am anymore. And season 1 for Cyril, God, I fucking hated him. Most annoying character for the entire season. But it works. But it works for what they did to set up for him for this season and everything. His death ultimately is sad for him.
All right. Well, let's rate this thing. I'm going to start easy for me. 5. This is 4. This is great.
4 out of 4.
Oh, it's out of 4.
Yeah,
4 then. 4 for me. This is 4 out of 4. Mm-hmm. I love this show. The show just gives me something I didn't know that I needed.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a 4. The episode 8 and episode 9 are probably the 2 best episodes that have come out, and I agree with a lot of people are saying they're probably 2 of the best episodes of television for writing and what they put on screen and characters and action and just all of it. Like 2 completely different paced and what's presented to you episodes. The hard reality of this is actually based on a real event that took place in Mexico in 1968. In terms of how it went down, because it was revealed the same way that no, you had people on the bad side who did intentionally shoot one of their own to instigate a riot and lay blame that the people that they were oppressing were starting this. And boy, does Andor have a villain, and boy, does Andor know what to do with that villain.
Yep.
And then episode 9, you have the whole Mon Mothma, like the whole culmination of everything that Mon Mothma has been going through for both seasons so far.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to this great speech that she gives, which, as we said, that's today. that is today. And then getting her out of there and everything else like that. And then the one thing we haven't, I'll mention to you, James. It actually sets up an episode of Rebels, because what they talk about is that they're going to get her over to Gold Squadron to end up getting her over to Yavin. Mm-hmm. Gold Squadron is the group of the Resistance and Rebels that the crew of the Goats, that is the main focus of Rebels, is a part of. And they're the ones that actually extract her to get her out to wherever they need to go.
So she's going to meet Ezra or Aladdin.
Yeah. So the characters you saw for the first time in Ahsoka,
yes,
is where she's going to go meet with them from this point forward. So.
All right. How about you, sir? Fair.
The rest is so fine that I'm not even going to bother watching the other episodes I haven't seen.
Fair enough. So we also had May the 4th happened since we've seen you last, and they dropped a 6-episode animated series similar to they have the last couple years. Mm-hmm. This is called Tales of the Underworld. We have a 3-episode arc about Asajj Ventress, and we have a 3-episode arc about Cad Bane.
I'm going to say that when they showed the preview that, we got a Cad Bane set. All right, I say, cool. Cad Bane's an interesting character. See what they do with him and taking him out of the rest of it, kind of focus on him and everything like that. And Asajj being a fan favorite, also being the point where it's like, hey, if you were watching those properties where Asajj Ventress was there, she died. So what are we doing? When does this take place and everything like that? And like the past sets of ones they'd had, this is kind of a mixed bag.
She died in a book, right?
No, she died in Clone Wars.
Was it Clone Wars?
Clone Wars where she died. She was also put into books.
Okay.
Asajj Ventress, for you gentle viewer, if you are not fully aware, or James Cope because you don't watch any of the animated stuff. Or actually, James, did you see the Clone Wars movie, the animated movie? The one with Truman Capote, the Hutt.
But you did see the old Samurai Jack ones, and she was in that, right?
Yeah, that's where she was first introduced. She was first introduced in those. So yeah, she was officially first introduced there. She was one of those characters that when they said that was a legacy thing, that they were going to redo the Clone Wars, and that's why we had the movie and then the rest of the series, that there was a possibility that she wasn't going to be carried over, but then happily she was, and put into the movie, and then put as a character that they met every once in a while throughout the course of Clone Wars. But yeah, no, she does die in the Clone Wars series. So now you have the situation of, okay, so well, she's dead. So when are we doing this one? Is this leading up to the point of where she became who she was? And then they went the interesting direction and chose to do it from, no, she did die. But because she's part of the sisterhood, the Dathomirian sisters, no, she didn't fake her own death.
They just have the ability to resurrect people.
Yeah. And
typically they don't come out right, though. Right.
It is, but so
it's kind of Lazarus Pit though, like they can only do it in certain places. Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah.
So, but it brings back Mother Talcin, who you met in the Ahsoka series. So, but she's given the option that she can either join the rest of the sisters as a spirit, in which the way they work is they have the power to exist in the plane and interact with things and affect things, everything like that, but only the things that are sacred to them. Like, it's the whole storyline of how Darth Maul is able to come back, be resurrected, and whatnot. Or, what she ends up choosing, she can go back to the real world life, but she has to give up something. And the thing she gives up is a person that she cared about a lot. So that person basically would never know that she existed, and she would be able to have no interaction with them again. Which, when they first showed it, made me think that it was a time jump from when she died to when that happened, and then it ended up not being that at all.
No, yeah. It ended up being, a little bit of a Obi-Wan tie-in with the path, and Quinlan Voss, who gets talked about quite a bit in all these extra things, but doesn't show up really. I mean, I guess he shows up for a minute. It was good. I liked it. It was a nice expansion on her and kind of what was going on. James, she started out as Dooku's Padawan, kind of, or apprentice.
Although they called her more of his assassin.
Yeah.
But she was being trained by him, which you got from the original Clone Wars series. You didn't really get so much from the rest of the redone Clone Wars series, that she just worked for him.
And then she turned to the good, kind of, just one of those kind of works both sides. Yeah. But it was good. She's got a little, she ends up finding a Jedi that got away, ends up helping him find the path where her ex-love was or whatever, and then in the end they both find that they need each other, of course, and then that they're going to go on together. Yeah. And, it was a cool little story. It had some nice action.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
And you also had one of the generals from the Empire show up and see what happened to him. Like, if you watch Clone Wars, it's one of the ones that you don't know other than watching Clone Wars, but he's prevalent in a lot of the animated Star Wars stuff.
That is a really cool part. She goes and she runs into an ex-general from the Separatists. And like he's like, oh, I got respect for you. They work together. Because she was working for Dooku, and just shows him being still kind of like stuck in the war mode from back in the day, and has this problem with some of the locals and this and that, and they end up negotiating things. You know what I mean? But it was kind of a cool little thing.
That maybe next year. I don't know.
Hey, I'm hoping for him to show up in the next 3 episodes of Andor.
Tales of the whatever. Tales of the side characters.
Tales from the galaxy.
So but no, the Asajj Ventress one was the enjoyable one this time.
Yeah. The Cad Bane one was not so great.
No. So Cad Bane, according to whoever decided to write this Cad Bane story, grew up as a street urchin and had a brother. And
a best friend.
Was the best friend? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was his brother.
No, they mentioned at one point that their parents died, so that's why I assumed that they were brothers. So, anyway, had this other one of his same type that he grew up with.
Duros.
Yeah, running around the streets, scrounging for food, stealing, all that type of stuff. They run into a character who exactly is what Cad Bane ends up becoming later in his life, and that he takes inspiration from and everything else like that. And then
It's the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
He gets his hat from the dude. All of it.
But the main conflict for this set of 3 episodes is him and his brother / friend, whoever he actually is, meeting up later in life because at the end of the first episode they get separated, and them and their ideals crossing paths with each other. And for everything you've seen Cad Bane do in the episodes that you've seen him in, for what you saw of him in the Book of Boba Fett, this just felt like one of those, for what I liked of him as a character, for everything I've seen him, I do not care for this.
No. And then at the end, he's got a kid that he is like, well, fuck this kid, and he just leaves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, I mean, that was kind of the good part. But
it's like, that.
It was weak. It was weak for such a potentially great character.
Yeah.
That you haven't told a lot of the story about, so you had a lot of chance to tell a lot of his life.
And then when you finally learn about his back life, it's like, oh, I wish I didn't know any of that now.
Yeah.
Go make him a mysterious character.
So, like, all of them?
Yeah, one's great.
One's great, and the other
one is
meh.
Although, comparatively to the other 2 sets, the meh on this one is such a opposite end of the spectrum.
Well, at least they're doing it with an interesting character, I guess. They went meh with an interesting character.
Because for Tales of the Empire, you got 2 characters that you only knew if you saw certain properties. Tales of the Jedi was decent, but Ahsoka at that point was kind of overdone, so her story was also borrowed from a book, and that was like, okay, whatever. But the Dooku one being one of the better ones that they've done for any of them.
True.
Still holds the highest for me. So we'll see. Wait and see what we get next year.
Let's see.
Yep.
Admiral Akbar.
Yep.
We're rooting for you.
Tales of the Pilots.
All right, let's talk about the new movie from Marvel that we saw, or at least a couple of us saw. Thunderbolts Asterix.
Yes.
Yeah, we watched this movie.
Yes, we did.
And pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Especially now, it's an interesting takeaway as whether it's pretty good because of the dredge that we've gone through for a lot of Marvel movies leading into it. But I'm of the opinion that it actually made me care a lot more about certain characters and everything like that. Whereas other Marvel movies didn't really make me care about the characters so much. It's like, okay, that's some cool set pieces that we're doing here and everything like that. But this movie is about depression.
It is very much about depression. This movie. So, James, you don't know anything about this movie? Yeah. Yeah. It's very much more centered on Yelena and Bob Sentry. You know what I mean? The other characters, some have more to do than others. Some aren't there very long at all.
Some made you forget that Black Widow had a movie.
Yeah.
And Marvel still wants to somehow forget that Black Widow had a movie, which is weird.
That being said, I don't think that it made, contrary to what you said, I don't think that it made me care about any characters in this that I didn't already care about. I still, at the end, don't give that much a fuck about Sentry or Bob. He wasn't very likable to me as a character. And I don't think that John Walker, I didn't give that much shit about before, and I still don't that much. Yelena, I kind of gave a shit about because of Black Widow. The Ghost character, still don't really give that much a shit about. Alexei, loved him from Black Widow still. And all the other things, like with him and like that What If episode with Bucky. Bucky I like from all the other things that Bucky was in. What's her name? Elaine. Val. Didn't really like her in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, I know I wasn't supposed to like her, but I don't think like her quips and just her likability is even though she's supposed to be a villain, they were still trying to make her Tony Starkish in a way, and I don't think that it played off great. That being said, I did really like the movie, and I think that it was a very interesting way to take it, and I like that they used these characters that all had very similar power sets. They were able to differentiate the few that were, and gave them something to do that didn't require them to punch things at the end, even though there was plenty of punching.
Yeah.
You know? And they were saving people. And it's very nice always to see superheroes, you know, saving people in a movie. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at the point that they put them at their lowest point when, like, the saving starts happening, where it's like, okay, yeah, we couldn't take out the fucking god that just threw us the fuck out the window or whatever they did, but we're not going to just let these fucking people die. We're going to do whatever we can. And then, you know, there's a really cool moment that made me go, holy shit, where I was like, did Marvel just kill a fucking kid right now?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
They didn't, but, you know, but still, it made me think for a second, like, oh, okay. It was still a very heavy moment either way, you know.
This movie is a character-driven movie.
Definitely.
Does it suffer if you haven't seen the properties that all these characters are from?
Definitely for some characters.
Yeah, like Ghost, one movie that she's been in. If you haven't seen that movie, she just seems like another character that seems like, wow, her power set's kind of overpowered for a lot of things. Why hasn't she been around much more? Well, there's a movie for her if you want to see her.
Don't fear, I have a bong, not a kabong right here. Let's stop her in her track.
John Walker, fortunately, which I was happy for, like, with the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, has not changed as a character by the start of this movie. He is still a real dick.
Yeah.
Which with the trailers make it seem like he's more fun-loving and everything else like that. That it's a change from how he was by the end of it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Nope, he is a straight-up dick when you first come across him, and a lot of his dialogue and interaction with other characters.
But they also still let him kind of be right most of the time because he does have far more experience at dealing with this shit than the rest of them. Mm-hmm. You know, as dealing with a team at all. You know, the rest of them are just, he's just got to be the leader.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alexei, just the portrayal is just wonderful at all times. Alexei's one of those characters, like, he has super soldier serum in him, but he's not one of the ones that just overly does it. He's just overly charismatic and an idiot, and that's what makes him great. Is it the character of the comics? Absolutely not, but who cares for him?
Apparently, that was one of the first drafts.
Yeah.
Was that there was going to be a after credit scene that showed that he was pulling the strings the whole time.
But this is one of those movies where it's a team up movie, a reluctant team up movie, but
For everyone but Alexei.
for everyone but Alexei, because
He's
Alexei
very
just wants
enthusiastic
Alexei. Yeah,
about
I
the
get
team up.
fuck yeah, I get to be a team up. But the way they go about it, I mean, even though you have some of your cliche paces and everything like that, does a much better job of making you believe that they would end up being a team for whatever reason. Like all these characters don't necessarily have a reason to, which we've seen plenty of times in the movies and properties and things like that. But it just does a much better job of slowly bringing them in together as a team. And there was a intentional decision made in the writing process that even though we have this character, Taskmaster, which appeared in the Black Widow movie for the first time, is somebody who is mentally and emotionally damaged for how that character was created for the MCU. You don't see them in the trailer much because they are literally shot within 5 minutes of being on screen.
Yeah. Ghost shoots her right in the head.
Yeah.
Boom. That was another like, oh shit, okay.
Because we're here all speculating, how is Taskmaster going to get killed and not show up in the rest of the movie? Oh, she's just going to take him by
I thought
okay,
for sure Bob was going to like kill her on accident. Like that's what I thought was going to happen. I did hear that originally also she was supposed to have a much bigger part.
Oh yeah,
But we should talk about Bob. So
Bob as a character is Sentry is so start with the comics. Sentry is a character, a manufactured superhero given these powers and everything else like that. But there is another entity called the Void that gets mixed in with his powers and causes him basically to what they initially termed as be a schizophrenic that has a split ability. He has the powers of a god, but also has the powers of ultimate negativity and evil that he kind of goes back and forth between and doesn't really have control of the negative portion of it and everything like that.
yeah. And in the comics, they said that he's been around for a long time, and he and Doctor Strange or whoever erased everyone's memory of him, including himself, because whenever Sentry would do something good, the Void would have to come and do something equally bad to offset it. So that was the comics version, but we didn't get quite that version.
No. So here is the problem with Val as a character and the way she's been put into MCU properties so far is, for as much as they've tried to insert her into things and give you a taste of what she is and everything like that, how she is at the start of the movie and her effect on the plot doesn't entirely line up or make sense for everything she's been doing the rest of the time. Prior to now, she just seems like this character who is a high-level government agent who manipulates and does shadow operations and controls all the other characters to do certain things like that. This time they've taken it a step further that not only she's been doing that, but she's been running illegal experimentation on humans and everything like that in an attempt to create, or she basically is the one who started the Sentry program to create the character of Sentry with a bunch of human test subjects and everything like that.
She wanted to replace the Avengers with one person.
But like I said, from what you've seen in the rest of the MCU, it doesn't seem like that's anything she's been doing in that aspect. She's been doing the kind of recruiting aspect of it to try to get a new Avengers team, but definitely not the manipulate genetics and things like that.
And you just don't really get a motivation for her. Like, what is her motivation? Like, even when we do get... So Sentry has this thing where she can touch people and it will kind of show like their worst moments or whatever, or something that really affected them somehow, some trauma. And it shows her accidentally getting her dad killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By talking too much or some shit like that. But like that doesn't like lead into any sort of reason why she wants the Avengers. Like, if something would have happened bad where there wasn't the Avengers around, or to some, where it was like, hey, or even she's just like, I will look at all these atrocities that happen all over the world because we don't have a fucking Avengers anymore, or this or that. Mm-hmm. But you don't have a motivation where she's willing to go through all these fucking things that she's been going through to do that. Not even if it's just simply, I'm a bad guy and I want fame, for it. Like, it's not even that, really, It's not even like wring your hands bad guy stuff, which I'll take, too, you know what I mean? Because
Deadpoolish in terms of how and why he got his power set, because Deadpoolish in terms of how and why he got his power set, because he came across this program that, hey, we can help you. We have these experiments that we can fix all these problems that you have and like that. So he signs up for it, and he's the only one that whatever concoction they made to be introduced into everybody was the only person to live through it. But the fantasy element, MCU element type of it was that his depression was what allowed him to get through it, because his depression was more of a cosmic, true depression cosmic entity that you see that Marvel has been trying to define as individual characters that exist in the Marvel universe over time throughout the comics, which we know as a character, the Void. So his body's able to take in the rest of the powers and everything like that the serum is able to grant him, but the Void also becomes sentient and creates his own, it expands its own power and influence over the world, and you still have the split version of Sentry that you do from the comics, but it coming from a regular person as opposed to this godlike previous entity. So
I think he looks good. He didn't look silly. There's a fight between the Thunderbolts and him where he just wipes the floor with them, which is great. The way that they portray the Void, I think, is awesome. When he becomes the Void, he becomes, almost like fucking, what's his name? Almost like the dude from, almost like Sandman from Neo Gaiman.
Oh.
But he basically just disappears people into the Void and into their own depression, it seems like. So he just starts spreading throughout all of Manhattan and just sends everyone into this Void. Interesting.
He sends them to the Shadow Realm, basically.
Yeah, it's the Shadow Realm. And in the end, Group Hug saves the day.
Yeah. Because
they got to get Bob out of his head.
But the best part about that is it doesn't defeat the Void. It defeats the incident that the Void is creating in that point in time.
Right.
The Void still exists as a thing that exists inside Bob. He still has all the powers and everything like that, but he kind of just, like as you saw in the post-credit scene, James, he doesn't use his powers anymore from that point forward, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him going into the Avengers movies that we have coming up.
It's a little bit Incredible Hulkish, you know what I mean? Where it's like, he's got to stay calm and do it. He also loses his memories. He doesn't remember what happens while he's in that state. Seems like either Sentry or the Void, hey?
He does. Yeah, whatever overpowered version he is has their own set of knowledge and memories. So a la Moon Knight, I guess you could say. Kind of in terms of how the characters are, that they don't necessarily. Although I think Sentry and the Void individually have knowledge and control over everything that's gone on with Bob. It's just Bob, as himself, doesn't have any real memory of what he did when he was Sentry and or what he did when he was officially the Void.
That seems fair. And then we had a couple of in-credit scenes. One of them was just fun. With Alexei trying to show off being on the Wheaties box, get him some tail from the grocery store from.
I don't think he was trying to
mom.
get some tail. I think he's just proud that he was.
Yeah, well, maybe one way or another. And then, of course, we've got the Fantastic Four ship coming into our
dimension,
which I was a little disappointed by because, I mean, we know that they're supposed to come into our universe, but, like, that movie's not even out yet. Like, I feel like you gave away something, you know?
Yeah, but a lot of speculation on the Fantastic Four movie is that was what was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, but now
now it's confirmed. Yeah, now it's
yeah,
confirmed
which is like, okay.
Here's the end of Fantastic Four movie. They're going to basically come from a different dimension, which they exist in a different dimension for the rest of the MCU right now.
Yeah. And, of course, the reveal at the end of the movie that they are the new Avengers.
Yes.
But maybe with a Z. Because Sam Wilson owns the rights to the Avengers somehow?
Well, no, because he was given by the president. He was told to start the new Avengers. In Brave New World.
Yeah, but that president...
That president is gone, but the new president still
is.
I know, but the new president is still apparently going with that initiative.
Okay.
So
The new president didn't come in and do a new...
Whoever the new president is, that we don't want to say who it is right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay.
But overall as a movie, all the components work together.
Yeah, yeah. I say it's the best MC. I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. Mm-hmm. That was fun, but this is the best MCU movie since Guardians 3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's the new Avengers.
All right. That's the new Avengers.
The thing I said that the asterisk is going to be. Oh, and also the whole Thunderbolts thing doesn't even relate to the Thunderbolts in the comics.
Doesn't even relate to Thunderbolt Ross at all?
No. That relates nothing to the comic name of the Thunderbolts. It was the name of the soccer team that Yelena and Natasha played on when they were undercover in the States.
Mm-hmm. That's that. That's it. We did like 18 fucking things tonight, guys.
Yeah. We have to rate this one, though.
Okay, well, I'm going to rate it 4 out of 5.
Okay.
That's okay. We can just say it.
Yeah. I also rate. I will also rate it 4.
Well, James can't, but...
James didn't see it.
James, raise your fingers. Raise your hand.
Do one on the other side.
On the other side.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, James.
How many you giving it, James?
How much you want to give it, James?
How many are you giving it? I'm ready. Out of 5. Out of 5. Oh, wow.
3.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
So better.
Come next.
Better than Captain Marvel or the Marvels, and you haven't even seen it. And
Bear.
Well, Ragnarok is a different phase. So whatever on that.
He's got these 3 fingers.
Quantumania was one of your other movies.
These 3.
You got Brave New World, which they do reference in this. So you're on the same timeline because they reference what happened to Ross.
They do for a moment. All right. Well, next week we will have a lighter schedule. Only 4 shows. 4 episodes.
No. 4 episodes. It's
4
2
episodes.
shows. 2 shows.
2 shows. And until then, make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow us for more of this and all the other fun stuff from Luigi and Mangione. Until next time, I'm Smoking Phat J.
I am Matt Christy.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.
I don't know why, but I can subscribe